Hello everyone, my name is Ritesh Gupta and you're watching the Pentester Guide. Today I'll be covering the latest topic for the CEH Certified Ethical Hacker Practical Examination Privilege Escalation Advanced Part. So let's get started. Before starting, we need to be aware about some concept. So there is a concept of access right flags. In Linux and Unix, there is access right flags that is being set on the executables and the directories. So these flags are named as set UID, set GID, which is known as set user identity and group identity. So these are the flags. These are the permit flags, I would say, that is applied on executables and the file directories. And what actually helps us, suppose you are a user but there is a file which has owner as a root. So suppose that file is being configured with a access right flag, and there is some values which is being set for set uid and set gid. Suppose that value is applied on that file, so you as a normal user will be able to run that file or execute that file even if the owner of the file is root. You will have a privileged access to execute it without even gaining a full access of root of any system. So if you are not getting it, no issues. I will explain it with an example, and while we will be solving a challenge or giving a walkthrough to this concept, I will make you understand easily what actually it is. So there are different file modes. For set UID, we have file mode which has value 4, and for set GID, group ID, we have value 2. So if this value is appended, or if you see the file permission of any file, and in that instead of seeing only these 3 digit, you see another 4th digit in the very beginning, and if it has value 4, that means set uid is being set, and any user can execute that file even if the owner of that file is root. Similarly, if the value is set to 2 in place of value 4 or 6, if you see a value of 2, then it means that the directory has a overall permit and any user can access the directory. And the fact is, if the directory have a permission of read write executable, if you create any new file into it or any directory, that will have the inherent access of the parent directory permission. Things to remember: if you create a new one, then only the permit values will be inherited. If the file is already there, if the folder already exists, then the permit value or the permission level will not get affected. So this is the concept one must be aware about. Let's get started with practical assessment or practical samples to understand this topic and start escalating our privilege from a normal user to a root user. We'll do the vertical escalation in this video. So let's leverage what we have learned. So this is an simulated environment to let you all understand that what are the required steps or what could be the possible steps to escalate it, exploiting the set privileges for the directories and executable files. So what we'll do is we'll do ls to check what we have. We have two files, greetings and welcome, and we'll check the file permissions. We can do this by ls -l. So what we get to know is the greetings. The owner has read an executable file for the greetings, and groups and others don't have any permissions. Whereas the welcome file, which is a regular file, has the read write executable, and owner has the read write executable, and others and the group have the read and executable permissions. Okay, fine. So we have a tool called stat. Okay, we can utilize this tool to exactly know or get the octal representation of the permissions that these files have. So modulo small a for the octal representation and modulo capital A for the human readable representation. We want to know that who is the user owner, so we'll use the hyphen capital U, and we want to know that who is the group owner. So we'll use modulo capital G. That's it, I guess. And we also want to know what kind of file these are, so we'll use the modulo f flag. And if you want to learn more about this tool, you can use the hyphen hyphen help flag for this. Okay, so this is what we want to know about these files. So first of all, we'd like to know about the file greetings, and we get to know that the owner has the read and executable permissions, and group and others don't have any permissions. It is so the group owner is the root and the user owner is the root. Okay, so we don't have any permission for this. We can check it by using cat greetings whether we are able to get anything. So it says that permission is denied. Of course, we don't have the permissions. Similarly we want to check the permissions for the welcome file, and we can see there is a difference here. The SUID bit has been set as we already discussed. SUID have the bit 4, the GUID have the bit 2. Here it says that whether we are under the root group or not, the owner of this file is the root and the group owner is the root as well, and we student are the member of the group student. Okay, we are not the member of the group root. Of course, if we would be, then we would have the complete privilege, right? So the conclusion is that the welcome file has the bit set, and it can be executed as a normal user with the root privilege instead of having a complete root access. All right, now what we can do is, what I know, because this is a simulated environment, what I know is this welcome file has a dependency on this greetings. Okay, also there is a doubt and question arises that how do we assume that something is happening or there is a dependency. So in this case, what we can consider is, we'll use the string command. Okay, and we'll utilize the welcome file, whether we have the greetings there as whether we have the greetings as a term present in this file or not. If yes, then there might be a, okay, sorry, that will be a strings. So that shows us that there might be a possibility that something is linked and it is being called. So set uid system analyze, these are the content inside the welcome executable, and we do see that we have greetings, so there might be a possibility it is getting called. So we want to spin our bash, so we'll copy it in this greetings. And in your scenario, suppose not in with the perspective of only exam, with the perspective of real life scenario as well, this welcome file could be something that you own or something malicious. Okay, now what we want to do is, we want to copy our bin bash and we want to spin it, right? And we see that cannot create a regular file greetings, permission denied. We don't have the permission. So we don't have the permission to manipulate, but we do have a permission to delete the file. We'll remove the file greetings, and if we do sorry, we'll remove the file and we want to remove it. If we do ls, we have only welcome here. Let me clear the screen and do ls. We have only welcome here. Now what we'll do, we'll copy the bash to the file greetings. So when we'll run the welcome executable, it will hit the call to greetings, and greeting will run the bash, and it might give us a possibility to gain a root access. So we have copied the bash to greetings. Do we have our files? Yes, we do. And now what we'll do, we'll run this welcome and let's see whether we are able to get the root access or not. Right now we are a user, name is student, and now great, we can see that we are now logged in as a root user. That's great. We have escalated our privilege. That is a vertical escalation using the wrong permission allocated to files and directories. All right. So we'll change our directory to root. In your case, might be given that which directory or where the flag is present. As a hint, we have moved to root. We want to know we have something. Yes, we do have a flag file, and we'll cat it, and we got our flag. Similarly, you have to utilize your wisdom and get the flag to submit and clear that question. So let's move to the second method which can be utilized to escalate the privilege. So the second scenario could be, suppose you already got the credentials from the easy council, or you have already solved some challenges and you got some credentials which are valid. So from those credentials you logged in into the server. Okay, this is a shared server. Consider it as a scenario of a shared server where suppose you are a student or you are an employee, or any other server is being shared with everyone so that everyone can update or host their files or websites over there. It's a kind of web server. So you have the credentials. Now you need to escalate your privilege as a root user, or so the admin have already provided you the access, but you don't have the access as a root user. You don't have the permission, and we need to escalate it. What we can do is, as a normal user we would not be having the credentials, but we know that it is shared. So of course if it is shared, we must be having a data or a bunch of data which can help us to leverage it, right? It's a web server. So simply we know that if we want to host something, we generally host it in our where www.html directory, right? So when we do ls here, we have a number of php scripts and files, and we can look out for many things such as comments, but I guess these will be code. I as we already thought these are codes and we need to go through it. No, we don't need to go through it. Okay, so let's clear the screen. What we can do is I think we can grab it. We can grab the database, user database. Of course, if since it's a web server, there must be a possibility that we must have a database of the users. So do we have something here? Local config database. Okay, we got something here. Do we have something else? Upgrade feed PHP? No. So what we have done is we were looking for a string that is db underscore user. Are we able to get something? So we are getting something here, but I think we need to check for all possibilities as well. We have admin include function upgrade PHP. Okay, db host, db user, db password, db base, but we don't have the directory. Install PHP configuration db. Okay, so we'll go one by one. If we don't get success, then we'll switch to another directory that is being mentioned here. That is admin include functions upgrade. But first, we'll go with the first one, that is here local config database, because this is a directory itself. So we'll move to cd local config database.php. Database.php is a file. So in this directory, local config database.inc.php is a file, and if we don't need to change the directory, we can simply cat it, I guess, since we are accessing the data of a file. Okay, yes, we got something here. We can see that database user is root and the password for the user is welcome to AD labs, and host is the local host. So can we change the user and give the password as this? Can we paste it? Okay, the password will not be visible, of course, so let's paste it and hit enter. Okay, we got the root access. So if we do who am, let me clear the screen. Clear the screen and do who am I. We can see that we now have root privilege, right? Do we have a root directory? No, we don't. Okay, sorry for that. We have a flag. Can we cat it? Yes, we got a flag. So we escalated our privilege vertically. We have got a shared server. We have access to it. Admin has provided access to it, but not as a root user. We entered and get a shell with the credentials that we have either provided or which we have got by solving the previous challenges. After getting the shell, we have moved to the host directory in the sense where the HTML files or the websites are being hosted. That is under the var www.html. There we search for a string called db underscore user, where we wanted to know whether we have credentials for such a string or not, or are we able to get some important data which we can use. Using that, we were able to know that a PHP file was containing the credentials of a root user. The DB user was root and the DB password was welcome to AD. And we escalated our privilege, and now we got the access of a root user, the complete access, and we have gathered a flag which we can utilize to submit later on. So now, completing this, let's move to the third method which we can utilize to do it. There are n number of methods, but I am considering 1 to 3 methods which can be utilized or which might have a high possible chances of helping you to get the flag for the specific challenge. So the third process is we can use already created tools that can automate the process of getting data that will help us to escalate our privilege. So for that, we are having two tools. So the first one is from the reboot user for escalating the privilege on Linux, named as Linum. And using this tool, you can get information such as kernel distribution, release details, system information, which contains host name, networking details, current IP, DNS server information, user information such as current user details, last logon user logged on details, bash history, privileged access, what kind of access do the current user have, which user have what kind of access, who are the sudoers, right? And regarding this environment, job task, cron job, services running on it, default and weak credentials as well if it is getting disclosed, the SUID and GUID that we already discussed. So these are the details that can be extracted by using Linum. And the second tool is the PEASS, and it is quite popular and it is updated as well. As we can see that last 2 months ago it was updated. We can use this script. It is simple to use, and it also gives us a huge amount of details to us. I would recommend to use both tools. The first doubt would come in your mind is that will I be able to use these tools and how I will be able to use these tools. So there are two scenarios. Either you can simply try to copy, just Google it and try to copy the URL and try to git clone into the machines that is being provided for attacking or enumeration by the EC Council, that is the Linux machine. Or what you can do is you can simply download in your local environment and start the server and host that directory, so that from the machine, that is from the EC Council, you can fetch or you can get the files from your local machine using the IP. I believe you all know this steps because it's a kind of basic one. If you are giving a CH exam, this is really basic requirement, that you know how to transfer files from local to remote machines or remote to local machines. So that's it. And I will also demonstrate you that how you can utilize it. So for the Linux enum, what you can do, this scenario will be applicable to both the remote machine as well as the local machine. We just have to simply copy the URL and we'll move to our uh, local machine. And here I already created a folder known as privilege escalation PESC, as you can see, and we will simply clone it by the command git clone, and we'll provide the git URL and we'll hit enter, and we can see that it has been cloned. When we do ls, we have that lin enum folder, and we'll move into lin enum folder, and if we do ls, we have our script, Linux enumeration script, which will be firing and we'll be analyzing what outputs are we getting. So first tool is we are done with the first tool. Let's move to the second tool. For that we'll be opening another tab, and the second tool is PES. It has been prescribed or mentioned that we must find the latest version of the script and binaries in the release page. So we'll move to the release page, and here we'll get to see this is the latest one, right? We'll do a right click on it, we'll copy the link, and there are two methods. Either you can use curl or you can use wget. So since we need to download it, we'll use wget. We'll paste the URL, we'll hit enter. So as we can see that we have successfully fetched the script. If we do ls here, we have linps.sh script as well. So if we see the executable permission for it, the owner is not having a executable permission. So what we'll do, we'll give the executable permission to this script, chmod-x for executable and script. Now we'll do ls-l for it. Now we can see that it is not executable. It is still not executable. Okay, what happened? Am I doing something wrong? Chmod, sorry, that should be plus x, I guess. Yes, exactly. So instead of hyphen, it must be a plus symbol. So now the script is also executable. Now we'll clear the screen, and one by one we'll look into each tool. So this is the tool one. Do consider looking into that. We are into the linenum directory. We'll do ls, and we have linenum shell script. We'll run it and we'll see what details do we get and how it is going to benefit us. Until and unless it's going to give us the complete detail, we'll parallelly run the script. Okay, so both these scripts are running and we are waiting for, okay, the first scan is complete. The first tool scan is complete, and we'll go through the data that is being output by this tool to us. So what data we are getting? We are getting the kernel information about the kernel, that is Linux Parrot 6.1.0.0-1 Parrot 1 AMD64. Okay, Linux information, specific release information, host name, great, users and group. So this is quite important. And here, users that have previously logged on to the system. If the machine is vulnerable or it has been configured by the EC Council, then there might be a case that you will get to see multiple usernames here. And who else is logged on? Current user is Parrot, of course it's me. But in your scenario, maybe there could be a change in the name of users or in a list of users. Group members, content of etc password. Okay, so it's fetch the content of etc and password as well. You can see the data of the password file. Super user account is root. So maybe there is a scenario you have multiple user details. Maybe there could be a different username instead of root. So we are checking for the sudo permissions, as I already discovered in the basic videos that we used to do sudo -l to check the privileges, but it is already there. We can see that the user have all the permission. No password is required to run any command. The file that can be read from the home directory is there. These are the list of files that can be accessed. So these are the details of my local machine, and I already have much more privilege than a normal restricted user. So maybe that's why there are a huge amount of data over here. But in your case, you must have to be very specific and have a keen eye on the data that you are getting on your screen. Cron job, this is the critical data, because for exploiting privilege to a root user, sometime cron jobs is the important vector to attack. There are already videos present over on YouTube as well, and you can see some blogs as well how to exploit the cron jobs for it. If you want a video to utilize a cron job as a vector to escalate privilege, do comment in the comment box. I'll prefer, or I like to create a new video on it. Then cron top contents, great. System timer, network and IP info, fine. Running processes, we get process binary and associated permissions with those binaries. Okay, do we have something that is very important? Okay, these are the server versions, useful file location, netcat, installed compilers, read write sensitive files. So these are the files which we have permission to read and write. That is an important data. SUID files, set user ID and set group ID, as I already discussed in the very first method. You can utilize these files to actually exploit the vulnerability and escalate the privilege. Okay, so there's a huge amount of data. Now let's look into another tool, and the output from this tool is really huge. Great. So I want to make this as an important point, that users, groups, SUID, that is set user ID, set group ID, mounts, script files, and cron jobs. These are critical vector for escalating privileges. There are multiple ways of escalating privilege using this, but I'm not covering all those because privilege escalation is itself a huge topic, and we don't, as I have not encountered privilege escalation challenge in during my examination, I'm not aware that what actually they are asking about. So I can't guarantee what exactly the method should be or exactly the process should be. That's why I'm covering basic things which can be used to solve the challenge. So we get basic information that is well highlighted, system information. Okay, the things that are in red needs to be focused on. This is prescribed by the owner of this tool, but we'll see. Okay, so for this tool, let me make you clear. If we get any CVE for this specific version that is related to this OS or kernel, then we must go and search the specific CVE over the Google or the database, CVE database, and we can utilize that to directly escalate our privilege. There we don't have to do anything, just simply have to run the script and we'll get the root privilege. So it is very important. If you get exposure level of high instead of less probable, do go for that, do opt for that CVE, do search for that CVE, give a time and try to use that to exploit it, and try to use that for exploitation. So we get important data as well. We get whether the machine is in container or not. So it is not, of course. It is a virtual machine. That's why it is able to navigate it. Yes, it is a virtual machine. There is no cloud instance, of course. So process, cron job, timer, service, and sockets. Very important. You can go through the privileges or the process that is being run by the root user and the user we are right now, the parent user. But I guess this is not required. The exam is of 6 hours and it will take more time. Instead, we must focus on the CVs that is being discovered by this tool, and we can utilize those CVs to perform our task. Network information. If you are interested in network information, you can go through it, but I don't think that is required. We have user information. You must give a time on this. My user clipboard. There could be a possibility that someone has copied a password, so that will be already in the clipboard and it is highlighted. That could be a possible chance to get the valid credentials for a root user. Checking sudo -l already okay for the sudoers, right? Token is not disclosed. GDB was found in path. Maybe it's a false positive. Super user is the root user with console. The current user is having the console access. The root user is having enforced K and upwatch is having the console access. Maybe in your case there could be a scenario that you have another user as well with the console access. Using that you can pivot it, like doing the horizontal privilege escalation and then after that doing vertical privilege escalation. Login now. Right now we are the user who are logged in. Last login is with the parrot. That is me. The data is not that much versatile because it's my local machine. The data must be versatile in your case. Install compilers, MySQL version. So if MySQL was running root and root as a user and password, it must be highlighted as a yes. So that's all about this video. Thank you so much, guys. Keep loving, keep supporting, keep sharing my channel. You all are supporting me day by day. Your gestures keep me motivated. Thank you all. We'll be back with another video on another interesting topic that will be beneficial for examination as well as in your career with much more deeper analysis.